how do you find the right marketing company as far as all the ads? Like, all
So,
the guys I know like have gone through like A, B, C, D. They like D now, but they kind of suck, and they keep moving on. You know.
so here's my 2 cents on that, okay? Do you want them to call your office, or do you want them to go through some type of funnel system? That would be one question to ask yourself. Meaning, do you want to be the call center, or do you want to outsource the call center, or do you want them to go through a funnel system? So we actually have 2 different types of marketing systems that we have right now. One specific to chiropractic that we spend X on, and then one specific to just StemWave, or actually we call it Shockwave, and it's out there because we have both devices that we can utilize. And one of them ends up going with a call center, and one of them goes through a funnel system and leads them through a bunch of automated services that we then call and say, hey, saw you scheduled, found us, and everything we're doing right now is through Facebook. Videos, and I shouldn't even say Facebook, it's videos. Videos win. Still pictures do not win, videos win. And the videos are the testimonial, the aha, like the things that you did right now, day one, like people want that. They're not used to seeing that. The holy smokes, that just happened in front of me. I can't believe that happened. You know, the before and after videos or pictures, and then them talking about it. So that's what we do on that side of things. Investment wise, what do we do? It depends on where you guys come from. StemWave side of things, Shockwave side of things, we do about $4,000 a month in marketing. And then chiropractic side of things, $4,000 to $5,000 a month in that as well too. So just, I'm not saying that to say, oh, look at us.
Mm-hmm.
That's about the budget. And what does that get you? Roughly $1,500, $750 to $1,500 on Facebook marketing ads is about where we want to be. And we found we went less. So how, are you guys familiar with how marketing works on that side of things? The person who pays the most wins. It's the game. So when there's 6 different people marketing the same thing, the person that's willing to pay more is always going to be put to the head. And you don't know it. You just got to keep kind of bidding behind the scenes till you're like, wow, we're getting enough attrition rate that people are coming through the door. So you don't know, but typically that range is $750 to $1,500. With what you purchased, I think they have a marketing component to this. They'll teach you and they'll help you the first 6 months. Then after that, it's up to you. They'll teach you how to do this, so you don't have to do the retainer of $2,500 a month, is what you typically pay these companies to keep this system going for you. They'll teach you how to do that, and then if not, and you don't want to do it, or have that, you can allocate funds to outsource it, they'll recommend companies that they've worked with that would say, hey, you can do this for them. By nature, the owners of this company, of the StemWave, are a marketing agency.
Do you have a specific company you work with for StemWave?
Yeah,
Are you willing to tell us who it is?
part of our agreement with working with them is they took care of us.
Okay.
Yeah, they don't take care of the Facebook. They take care of the marketing, the setup, the system. So then one part of that agreement was then we need to teach other docs how to do this.
They being StemWave?
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah, they have their own sub-marketing that they outgrew for now that has turned into just B2B. They won't do B2C at this moment.
Right.
But now that's why they're referring out.
I asked a similar question to that Wednesday on the
Coaching call.
coaching call. And
Did they connect you with anybody?
Pardon me?
Did they connect you with any of the marketing?
No, but
Okay.
my question, basically what I said was, I don't want to be a marketing person.
Right.
I just want to treat. So whether I pay StemWave or whether I pay some other group, and do you have any recommendations on what other group maybe I should look into? And the answer I got was, we'll teach you how to do it. It's not that hard.
Mm-hmm.
But if you don't want to do it, we can work something out where we can do it for you. Or if you do end up going with an external marketing company, they're not going to know this market as good as StemWave does because they're a marketing company. So if you work with somebody else, we can show them exactly how to focus in to get the best results.
Yeah. If I was you guys, I mean, they probably won't do it because they haven't done it in almost a year and a half now, but they've done a phenomenal, when they're on their game. So I will tell you right now, like, their marketing B2B is great. That's why you're here. They found you, or you referred to some degree, right? I mean, what they put on Facebook is what you saw. That's what StemWave created, is that ad to get your attention. They do that same thing for B2C. And so the difference is there's a lot more quote unquote babysitting from B2C than there is B2B, because it's a bigger, high volume agreement that they're doing. So they just have moved organically away from the B2C conversation because they want to do more of the business to business conversation. So, but I always think, no matter what it is, the worst thing they can say is no. And if you're willing to invest into it, they might say yes. And at the beginning of the game, we're only 9 months into them being a company, well, probably longer than that, but from them actually getting product on, US grounds, they might want to work with you. I don't know. We just got very fortunate that part of our agreement was, if I'm going to work with you, that I don't want we can't afford to take me or anyone else away from the business and then try to figure out the marketing. And if you're wanting me to help you get to the US, you have to do something a little bit to help us get this to the US. And we can't give up on the 60% at times on a monthly basis is what they help us bring through the door. So that's a big cushion that we didn't want to then create another relationship with. So I say it's worth having a conversation, see what they can say. The worst they're going to say no. Have they always been good? No, they're like any other company. You can't predict everything. But for the most part, like, we got our account hacked a month and a half ago, our Facebook account. We hadn't run an ad in 40 some days. We saw the difference. Huge difference of not doing online marketing. You will run out of your current trust base real fast, and then after that, it is all online or internal referral. Otherwise, you're going to be $3,000 to $7,000 a month, which might be great for you. Depends on how you want to scale it. For us, minimally what I will expect and accept is $25 a month. If we're doing less than $25,000, I'm not happy. And we do 25 to 60, so on just one machine. And I say that to impress upon you, that's the ability that it can be done. And there's 3 other machines in town, of a town of 125,000 people, so it can be done.
Do you think that actually helped because there's more people? They're obviously marketing also. So then the technology is being spread about even more than just you on your own.
It helped them tremendously. I went and did both trainings of them, and I sat through, they had 12 people, and 3, both times 2 in one and 3 in the other. Oh, this is what I saw online. They hadn't yet marketed. And they were already building their practice because
Some of them came to our office prior to them.
and then went over there.
machines.
Oh, I see. It helped them more than it helped you.
100%.
Yeah.
And then it took about 6 months, and then people started finding out that we're the clinical advisor, we're helping other people. So what I'm saying is run into your community and be that person, because then what happened is that now they go there and they're not getting results. They'll call us and say, hey, I'm not getting results here. Can I come in and see what you guys can do for me? Because they understand that yes, it's technology, but it's a skill set.
See, there's only 4 Softwave units in Iowa, and the closest one to me is in Dr. Clement in Des Moines. So there's literally none of this technology down where I'm at, but I'm also in a county with 30,000 people in it, so.
If I was in a county of 30,000 people, I'd own it in 6 months is what the mindset I'd be for you. And you have that mindset, like, let's go. In 30,000 people, you'll be busy enough forever. If nobody else ever came in there, I honestly believe 12,000, 8,000 is enough to keep someone busy forever. Like, I don't think the size of the city, I don't think the size of the county, I think it's the conviction that that person has, because I've been to Alexandria, Minnesota, a little town just south of it, 3,000 people, and the guy could overtake it, he just decided not to. So then what happened? A year and a half later, all the marketing in this area, because we draw from 100 plus miles with a lot of people, they go each way, one in Alexandria, so 10 minutes from him now, is gonna have a STEMWave, and he's just gonna run this guy right over. But he didn't do anything. So and in your first 6 months, that's when you're gonna hit your peaks. After that, I've seen that everybody just kind of peters out. If you're not anxious to get this thing to people, after 6 months, it's gonna be like anything else sitting in the corner. You just won't run with it. What I'd say to you guys is about every quarter to every 6 months minimum, do some type of grand opening relaunch, get people in, get them excited, have a bunch of people back to back, kind of like we did here. Figure out how you can work that into a system in your office. When someone sees something, they're excited for theirs, and then they tell someone, and then they see 6 different things happening. You don't do it in the open, but you do the videos in the open. If I can give you a $100,000 takeaway, you do that, and you'll be happy on the results you get and the results your business gets. When you do videos, yes, do them in private, but talk about it in a different way when they're walking in some part of your public office. because people, what they see, they'll believe. And if they only hear it, they're not. And when we were just on that side, when we didn't have this much room, every single person went into one of the rooms, had a consult, and every single video was out in the open adjusting area. So if you were getting adjusted, if you're here for massage or you're here for stem wave or soft wave, you saw every single person do range of motion. And then they disappeared. They come out of this magical room 5 minutes later and they do the same darn thing. And then they go, and then here's what happened organically. Schedule me, schedule me, schedule me. It's literally, they would just like do that. So show and tell is huge.
And when you have more people, like you did your ankle, right? But maybe your mom's dealing with a hip issue and you're like, oh, then I can help mom out. Mom should give this a try, you know? Just
So those are the marketing side of things and just different things to think of. It's so much different than the chiropractic adjustment. No matter how good you are, what technique you do, it's just different. Because you can get it so fast in front of you. And people want fast nowadays. If your phone goes like this for two, they're like shaking, you're like, what's wrong with this? And it's a snow globe, right? That's where the world's at. So that's why this is great. If you can get on top of it, you will run through your city and help so many people. And I know we've talked about dollars and cents. It's just an exchange of value. And I'm not telling you have to do it, but if you want $3,000 a month, great, there's an option. If you want $100 a month, there's an option. And if you want to scale it, you can scale it. There are different ways to get there. But at the end, you're going to have enough people that you currently know that at some point you're going to be sitting around and going, I thought this thing's supposed to help everybody. You didn't get the message out fast enough. And that will happen faster than you thought. And that was one of I'm very happy that after the first 2 months we were already marketing. So think about your current base. This is the last thing I'll say unless you guys have other questions. Your current base, how do you get this thing going? Even if you already currently have it. For every 100 individuals you see per month, roughly 30 to 70% of those people are qualified, highly qualified individuals to receive care with this technology. So take those numbers, not visits, but individuals per month. Depends on how you do this. At the beginning, we did a new person every 15 minutes. Now we're about every 20 minutes or so. And we can do a full consult, before and after videos, treatments, and a financial presentation in 20 minutes, and by 30 minutes they're walking out the door and they've prepaid X. So just depends on your systems. You can push it hard, or you can, if you want an hour, I don't know how you can do this in an hour without sitting there and like getting to know their friends and family, which is great if that's what you do, but that's not what this is for. The results are so immediate that anything after that, you're trying to talk them in. So I'll say this, think of the mindset. The results happen so fast. If your appointments are over a half hour with this, especially on day one, you are trying to talk them into it, and the best thing you could do is just let them think about it. Just let them think like, how much did this just improve your life? And then let them make a decision. But the more you sit with them, the less you're going to be able to make them see the value. Yeah.
Do you do the financial on day one then, right after mapping?
Yeah, so when I leave the room after 10, 15 minutes in, it's what percent improvement, what expectations. Yes, I agree we can meet those or not meet those. I'll put together 3 opportunities for you, one of which is going to provide a prepay today discount. The other one's going to be, if you don't want to make a decision today, there's still a discount. The other one is you can do time by time, but I'd recommend not, because it's going to be more expensive and there's not going to be predictable results, and we leave it as such.
So option B, they can come back for a slight discount when they're committing that day versus day one.
Yeah, so look at a big chunk discount if they commit right away. I mean, the results are so good that if you want to pass that up, that's fine. You get 24 hours to think about it. So if they say, yeah, I want to come back, I just don't know. So what we'll do is put a plan of attack in place for them to do that. And then if they don't get in contact with us in 24 hours, great, they're still prepay if they ever want to come back, and it's 30 days, because after 30 days, a lot can change again. So then they have 30 days to make that decision again for a prepay. Otherwise, they come back later, we'll remap it for the $49, $97, see where they're at again, and they'll have choices. But we're not going to give them the discount prepay again. That's just not, we've had people try to do that. So we keep it fair and ethical. If you're doing time by time, you can do it if you're wanting to help with pain relief or wellness people. But I will tell you, like anything else, if you sign up for a gym membership and it's an on-out debit and you have a trainer, you're going to get way better results than someone that has a gym membership. They pay whenever they can pay for it. Just don't commit. And for this, you need a series that every time that those waves come in, it's producing a response that the body's going through trauma. When you stop seeing them, let's just say they want to see you a couple times and then they stop. They'll come back 3 weeks later and they've only seen you 2 or 3 times before that. You're going to be frustrated. You're gonna be very frustrated because they still remember the first conversation, which was, you said you could help me get these results. And then you didn't stop them by going, yeah, but you took 3 weeks off. The body's smart enough. It knows that it's done with its trauma, and you're trying to reignite another trauma. It's not gonna understand that it's already done its job. So, and then roughly if they do, 2 to 4 months, if they do at least 2 months, we're finding that 4 months after that is when they're gonna get the optimal healing. So the other concept too is keep in mind, what is the most beautiful creation in the world? Human body. Think about the intelligence behind that. You don't have to read a book, it just happens, right? 9 months after conception, there's a baby. That's a healing process. Do not cut shortcuts with this. When someone goes, hey, we're a month or 2 months in and we're not getting results, we got 7 months to go. I'm not in charge, Nate is in charge. I will not, and I'm not going like spiritual or philosophical on you guys. You guys gotta come from a basic foundation of saying, you're not the healer. Their body heals. You're just removing that of which is interfering with the healing process. And when you do that, they will take responsibility. They will then look into supplements, other things that you do, follow recommendations. But if you try to say, hey, are you feeling better today? Like the worst question that in our office that you can ask is, how are you doing today? I can't stand that. It's, what's good today? The rest of the world doesn't ask good questions, so we do. What's good today? I don't want them to think about their pain. I've went through it. Every time that you ask someone how they're doing and they're going through pain, they lie to you anyways, because they're sick and tired of hearing their own complaints, and they don't like when other people complain either. So get the real answer by asking them what's good and focus on the things moving forward. Small thing, but big thing. All right, anything else?
Are they sensitive to electrostatic shocks? Like say you catch some static on your carpet, you touch that thing, get zapped. I've seen CLAs get fried that way.
Yeah.
Is there any kind of sensitivity to that thing if you're plugged in and like grounded?
No, haven't seen it.
Okay. I caught a shock. I was like, oh shit. Like, is this thing gonna like work tomorrow? But like,
Yeah, no, I haven't seen it.
Okay.
No, and we've had it on every type of floor so far.
Okay.
And there's
Could it
lots
happen?
of-
Sure.
Sure, I haven't seen it.
Clinical.
Yeah.
So obviously they say don't treat kids. I have a lot of junior athletes, like high schoolers. Obviously we want to stay off the growth plate. Any other?
Our rule's 16 years of age and older is what we'll take on and stay away from the growth plate still. Can you do a 12 or 14-year-old? Sure. Is it recommended? No. Why? Because I think there's irresponsibility that happens and they get close to the growth plate. Now, even though it's the growth plate, there hasn't been solid evidence to show that you're closing the growth plate by working over it. So I think just right now, the idea of that could happen is just enough to be aware of it. If it's a broken bone, I'm gonna go right after that broken bone. I'll tell you that every single time. I'll stay away from the growth plate. The thing with this as well too is you're creating, especially if it's bone, right? If it's bone, you're creating a vibration anyways, right? So if you're creating vibration, you don't have to be where the source is. You can be up here and you're still gonna get stem. The body's gonna come there and gonna know what to do. I mean, on that philosophical, physiological level. So you can work with them just in a different way. If you feel or ask your malpractice carrier, once again, for your own safety, is this something that you would allow me to do? And if so, why and why not? Yep.
Do you have a lot of people with migraines that you work on?
If we do, it's, dime a dozen. I mean, do they get better? Yes. Do they get worse? Yes. As much as our profession is good with headaches and migraines, we're terrible with them.
Yeah.
So we don't even, and if they come in, our conversation to them is, if you have information, we can help. We continually, no matter what they present with, we will get them to separate themselves from being labeled. And if there's information, we can possibly help. To what degree, let's make that agreement now, and not just like we can help, because your definition is different than theirs for help.
Sure.
So would you work on somebody? Yeah, we've seen great results with it. For every great result, we've seen nothing. And that's frustrating. And that happened enough for us to go, just talk about inflammation. Stop talking about their diagnosis. They want to talk about it. You want to talk about it. But the end result is, for every diagnosis, I've seen something that is just a shoulder issue, worse and better, and they all heal the same. Slower rates, but they all heal.
Mm-hmm.
So every time there's inflammation, they can have a supraspinatus tear, they can have a full rotator cuff, bicipital tendon tear, pec. That's another thing. If shoulders aren't doing good, little keynote to you, save you a ton of issues. Don't forget, you want to put these people through passive and active, but wait till about visit 4 to 6. okay? Don't do it day one, you're gonna hurt these people. If you have decompression, do not do this right away with these individuals either, whether Neon Track or decompression in general. It's all about the ligaments have not moved long enough, and there's a lot of research on this. The ligaments have not moved that far, and when you remove inflammation, guess what happens? We just saw with Mike and everybody else that had range of motion, your body moves further. So what does that do to the cells? It challenges them differently. You challenge them differently, and then you pull that ligament, holy moly, good luck. And we're seeing a lot of that, and that's just unfortunate for these people. I don't think they meant to do it bad, it just, they didn't know. They were trying to put all these, so what I say with that is, watch when you combine things. Less is more at the beginning. Wait till you see one thing works, and then add it in and see if that next thing works, and then the next thing. So I think it was Mike was asking, or somebody, I think you might have been asking, Rod, what about the PMF? Yes, but we do them on separate days at the beginning. We wanna see what's different. Right now we have an individual who got great results with StemWave. We're stopping StemWave for 2 weeks and we're doing PMF only for 2 weeks. Not because I don't think StemWave's working, I wanna see if we can get a whole circulatory response and then get back to the focused area. What supplements? You guys are all intelligent enough to know whatever's gonna improve the healing process. So there's not a certain supplement unless you believe that's right for that person.
You remember making a comment earlier about, getting some, having a bit of a issue with people that maybe not drinking enough water, Is there anything in making sure that they, like, drinking a bottle of water before treatment?
Yeah, so we have our own documentation that says all the protocols that we expect them to do prior to treatment, after treatment.
Okay.
Yeah, that's something that I can't provide to you guys because it's not StemWave approved. It's how we operate with everything that we do, like with the Hawkit, that's what we do with the PMF. So I would just say those common factors that would influence their health and healing process, dehydration, just make sure, the simple things. Make sure you drink enough water. We used to say a certain amount of ounces. We say 40 ounces just to hit a small number and just say, you know what, just shoot for water. Some of these people just don't drink water. Like, let's just try to get it simple today.
I remind people every time they leave after every treatment. I just say, just make sure you guys drink a lot of water today. So it's just kind of a constant reminder to them.
If you've seen that water fountain on the way out, part of it was on that wall for many reasons, so it hides from the kids on the other side, because we see a lot of kids chiropractically, but on this side, there's no reason you can't walk by and get some water on the way out. So it was just another thing to stimulate the thought process. But water, nutrients, any type of collagen, we use Intramax for the vitamins, minerals, and nutrients, omega-3 fatty acids, anything within that first several hours to get into their body to help that healing process, because the number one side benefit is circulation. So you'll find your own groove, and 60% of our people are not using chiropractic in StemWave. 40% are doing a combo on a given month, give or take. So you can get great results with just this, and we do have the conversation that combining them will be better, but we're not going to force you. But if we see that it would be better and they say no, make sure that you just make clear expectations of, okay, what would be better after a month? If you're here and you don't achieve that, then let's talk about the next thing. So don't really change too much of your guys' process. Don't confuse it. Use this as another ancillary, but at the same point, it can be a standalone and a combo at the same time. And you'll figure out, for everything I've said right now, it's taken us 2 years to get to this point. And we did something way different 6 months ago than a year ago, than 18 months ago.
It's a process.
Huge process, and you'll figure it out in your business. That's why we have thermography now, because this expanded so fast that we needed thermography, because we wanted to see metabolic system, not static MRIs or x-rays. And then if this worked well, great, it does. Now we need to do the whole body, so then we want a PMF. Okay, now we can do more inflammatory responses. Now we got the Hawkit. And so it just kind of, everything is synced with each other, where if they can't afford this, we'll put them on PMF. We get good results, just not as good. Kind of like, what about stem cell injection? Wonderful. Could this be before it and give people a landing before they get to stem cell? Because that's a big, big investment. And just giving them options, but keeping them in the conversation of, we take care of the inflammatory response on all levels. How do you want us to help you?
And neuropathy, have you treated a lot of neuropathy patients?
Neuropathy is really good. Type 2 diabetes, like I said, neuropathy, not the best. Make them change, not make them advise that they change. But as far as any other neuropathy, you want to do about double. So if it's I think it's in the manual. 400 to 700 waves, if you're doing really good, you should be able to take care of a neuropathy. Neuropathy at the beginning is kind of like a low back or spine in general. If they'll typically go, I feel a different sensation. They really won't feel anything when you're there. For most of these people, they don't feel anything at all. So we'll typically send them home and have a follow-up visit to say, hey, how did the first couple of days go? Especially with feet, if you're talking neuropathy, they'll feel things that they didn't even know they're feeling because just how this sensory is on their feet. And people that have like a factory job on a line, usually you have to let them know what that day is going to be like, and it's usually not the best.
Is that treatment protocol in here? In other words, like as far as the feet, which is normally where most people are complaining with neuropathy, where are you treating exactly? When you're treating a neuropathy person, where are you treating that?
Do it the same as a foot protocol, and then
Okay.
just double the number of waves.
Okay.
It's really just a number of waves game. Minimally do a double of waves for each area. So if you find a lot's in their foot, you know what is typically 400 to 700 waves, I'd say stick around 700-800
And
waves.
do you
for foot.
charge more because of that? Right.
Yeah.
So not only are they doing it more times in a longer time frame, but
You're essentially doing two visits.
treatments are longer, so you're, right.
Sorry,
Yeah.
that's giving me a brain fart. So I'm just thinking of the setting on there. So you're still leaving it at like 200, and then what? I'm sorry. Like I said, for some reason
Oh,
it's
it's
not.
been a long day, you're
computing.
good.
It's not computing in my brain. So let's say we're treating neuropathy on the foot. What would we be looking at settings on there?
So day one,
Yeah.
400 waves.
Okay.
Yeah, that's all you want. Really keep it around there.
Okay.
After that, if they do qualify,
Mm-hmm.
they should have a 5 to 20% improvement as well too. How they feel, most of these individuals are walking around with shoes all the time because they can't stand not being with the shoes. And I'm talking a lot about feet. There's
Yeah.
other neuropathies, right? So we'll just say that's mostly what's going to show up. After that, roughly around 700, 800 waves.
So
Should
you're
still meet
upping
you.
that to
Yeah, so this is going to go
800 or okay.
800 waves. Now, what I would do is in blocks though. Okay, so every 400, set it for 400, it's going to stop at 400. Set at 300, it's going to stop at 300, and just press go again. So that way, a lot of the waves are going to be wasted because it's just going to be continuous, right? And what I would like for you to do is put yourself in a mind of, I got 300 waves to work in this area. And you'll figure it out after a while, like that was 300 waves. Great, then do 200 and just focus on one area, 200 in another little area, 200 in another area, however you want to do it. But in my mind, when we set it to 800, I'm watching and looking over my shoulder, but at the same point, after a while, you just kind of get the mapping down. Like in a neuropathy, for the most part, it's like a plantar fasciitis, just more severe. So you're gonna go right at the calcaneus, you're gonna go right at the arch, you're gonna go right at the ball of the foot, and then you're gonna take those toes and you're gonna bend them back and you're gonna get right into that crease. And that's where most of it's gonna come. So once again, it's the fascia, the plantar fascia that you're going after. You're stretching that at the insertion and origin attachments, right? So it's gonna be the polar opposites typically. And then what you'll find with the foot, you might have to go, typically you have to go up into the calf. Do not forget about where that nerve comes from, right? Cervical, thoracic, travels down lumbar, out. A lot of it you're gonna find in the IT band.
They usually feel like they have around, like more cushion is what they say. They don't, it's not so much feeling, but
Yeah.
also the soft wave is set up.
Yeah. Anybody wanna try the soft wave before they leave so you can see a difference and know what your community has and what you don't have and why it's different?
Sure. I got software down the street, so.
There you go.
In the last one, it went corrupted because the computer shut down. Is there any way that I can hire you for that? I'm sorry.